shocked and quite angry and a bit disappointed in him as well, I would say.
Absolute horror,
Why is that?
because I don't want a Reform MP in my constituency. I think it's absolutely brilliant. I think it'd be a very, very good job at Reform.
Well, I'm going to vote for Farage because it's the last chance saloon.
Conservatives are a null outfit these days. Danny Kruger's a very clever man.
Some people want a by-election because he did.
No, I think that's ridiculous. I think it's absolutely brilliant. I think it'd be a very, very good job at Reform. They're going to give him a job there, which is very responsible. The Conservatives have not been using him wisely. He's a very, very good MP. He's very active in the constituency. And I think that he's having a job at Reform where he will be organising that if they get into power, they will immediately hit the ground running. He's responsible for, them coming into Parliament. And I think it'd be very good. Because Labour has spent 14 years canvassing and they've got into Westminster, haven't got a clue what they're doing. They've got no plans at all. It's incompetent. It's very important to plan in advance and actually have a proper manifesto and stick to it. And he'll do that, I'm sure.
Some people want a by-election because he did.
No, I think that's ridiculous. He's had a big enough majority. I don't think it's necessary.
I don't want a Reform MP in my constituency. I agree with it, but I think he would still get in because I think it's a very conservative community.
Do you think it's a conservative community that's now looking to reform though?
Looking at Facebook, I think there are enough people that have been horrified by it.
Why do you think that Danny Kruger might have joined Reform at this moment in time?
Because the Conservatives are a waste of space.
Not that I saw it happening, but I'm not surprised. Because if you kind of take a minute to go through his voting record and the kind of histories he's had in Parliament, it does very much align with that classic Reform policies. Things like his stance on same-sex marriage, what women could do with their bodies, things like that. So yeah, not happy about it, but not surprised.
Do you think that there should be a by-election in this constituency?
Absolutely. I think it should just be a standard. If the MP that you're voting for, as you voted for them, represented a party, and then they decided to change their mind, then we should be allowed to change our mind as well.
Those who voted for him, which doesn't include me, but those who did vote for him, voted for a Conservative MP, and they now haven't got one. So I think that should be looked into.
For people who might not know, what are the sorts of things that you think make Danny Kruger like Reform?
Well, I think some of his opinions probably about immigration lent himself to that.
Yeah, he's quite conservative on things like abortion for the UK. Like
His
that.
Christian beliefs kind of lent himself to the idea that things that on transgender opinions, which I don't hold with his views on many of those things. I've never actually been to any of Danny Kruger's talks, but I do know quite a lot of people have been to them and have been sort of upset that he didn't seem to have his finger on the pulse of the local community particularly. Whether that's true or not, I don't know, because I've never been to them.
We know Labour were going to fail because I'll be perfectly blunt with you, when a man going in 10 Downing Street saying there's women walking around with todgers, I think to myself, that's an insult. A human rights lawyer will not do what he said he's going to do because they stopped deportation of dangerous people. So he could see them failing, and he could see the Tories had 14 years without. I must admit, 14 years and it's 14 months to this law, they're even worse.
Would you vote for Danny Kruger if there was a by-election here?
Well, I'm going to vote for Farage because it's the last chance saloon. If he fails, the Liberals are a waste of time. Trouble is, if you could see the economy going downhill, and when you get an idiot like Starmer saying we've steadied the economy, steadied everything, I mean, it's like me saying I'm teetotal. Who's going to believe a bloody word I'm saying?
I really don't blame him. Conservatives are a null outfit these days. Danny Kruger's a very clever man. Somebody needs to do something. Just Labour, Conservative, they're all just doing nothing for any of us.
Danny Kruger said that the Conservative Party's over. Nadine Dorries said the Conservative Party is dead. Are those analyses that you agree with?
Well, I do, and I'm a lifelong Tory. We're lifelong Tories, yeah.
Really?
Yeah, absolutely. Nothing's happening.
Mm-hmm. And now that Danny Kruger has defected to Reform, would you consider voting for him if there was a by-election in this constituency?
Probably because Danny Kruger's a good guy, a very clever guy, but who else do you vote for? Conservative, Labour, they're all much of a muchness. Danny Kruger's trying to do something a bit different. Reform, whilst they're a bit risky, they are trying to do something different, and we need that.
I know people say, oh, reform isn't really far away, but it is really. I think that's the problem. And unless we can change the culture in the country to sort that out, it's never going to change. I mean, you're just going to have the stuff that's going on now with all, the flags everywhere and people trying to burn down hotels and God knows what else. So I personally think they need to be taken back under control of it, because it seems like the press, unfortunately, including yourselves, right, I just give them maximum amount of coverage, and that by default means that that's all people are reading, so they think, oh, this must be the way to go. So
What do you think it is that Reform are saying that's hitting a chord with a lot of former Conservative voters?
Well, putting British people first, I think. Just not the same old meaningless rhetoric comes out of Conservatives and Labour, which all we've heard about for the last several years, I guess. Reform are trying to do something. Whether they do or not, time will tell, but we have to do something different, I think.
And as far as I'm concerned, Farage ought to be given a go. And we know if he fails in 12 months. I mean, but he has to have people around him to implement the policies. What worries me, I mean, I care for my mum and dad. My dad first, my mum. And the whole National Health Service is just a broken system. And if you don't change it, it's no good throwing money into a system that's totally broken. And it's no good covering up the cracks.
I think what we're seeing now is almost like a massive protest kind of against traditional politics, especially like recently. But I think once kind of the larger parties kind of pick up with the status quo, they'll kind of go back to normal. It's my imagine.
And what do you think it is that Reform are saying that's having sort of traction in formerly Conservative constituencies like this?
I think the biggest thing that they're offering people is difference, is a change. Because I think whilst most people don't necessarily agree with every single one of Reform's policies, they're the only thing that's promising something that's massively different to what we've had for, 20 years, or more, 13 years now. So even if you're not, I think, even if you don't agree with everything, people are going, well, at least it's something different, which I think is what's managed to rope so many people in. Because I think most Reform voters get tarnished with the same brush. I'm not one myself, but I understand what I think is the vast majority of Reform voters are people like myself that just want massive, massive change. And they don't know where else to get it from.
I don't like their policy on the boats, race, anything.
Reform's changing. Reform's being very clever. Reform is coming out with, well, whether you like what Farage is doing, he's coming out with very strong leadership. And I think probably quite a lot of people who don't necessarily hold with his views, very definitely don't hold with his views, like the idea that he's leading.